I'm Mary Clark, 35 years old. I live with my husband John, whom I met at work and married, and our 5-year-old son Michael. After Michael was born, I quit my job to become a freelance systems engineer. Today, after dropping Michael off at daycare, I return home, thinking about my tasks and schedule for the day as I turn my key in the door. When I opened the door, I saw John with a suitcase, about to leave. Furrowing my brows, I asked him, "What are you doing?"
I'm going to a business trip, of course.
"You never told me it. Where are you going to?"
Singapore.
"What? Overseas?"
Oh, just stop. I have a flight to catch, so I'm leaving now.
At John's abrupt words, I respond in a low voice. "You'll regret this. It will be your final trip."
What did you say?
I said, "You'll regret it."
What the hell? Why are you so mad about my business trip? You're scary. Maybe I'll never come back.
Leaving those words behind, John quickly leaves. Even though John said it was a business trip, I knew it was actually a trip with his mistress. How did it come to this? Left alone at home, I reflect on the past while considering my future. It all started when John missed out on a promotion.
I didn't make it this year either.
What?
The promotion. I didn't get it.
I see. But you worked hard. You've achieved a lot at work. So let's try again next year, okay? 6 months ago, John missed out on his promotion opportunity. This wasn't just a one-time occurrence. It had been happening for several years, with 40-year-old John remaining a regular employee while his peers and juniors steadily climbed the ranks. Despite missing out on promotions, John would always say he'd keep trying. However, he was different this year.
It must be nice for you.
What?
You quit your job and went freelance so easily. You don't have anyone nagging you from above or younger bosses and colleagues making snide comments.
Well, yes, but
Maybe I should go freelance too.
what?
If I went freelance, I wouldn't have to deal with this crap every year.
Well, working solo is pretty tough too, you know?
Huh? Are you looking down on me?
What?
You mean someone like me couldn't make it on their own, right?
John suddenly shouted. I wasn't trying to belittle him. In fact, our fields are completely different. John is in sales, and I'm in a technical role. As a technical professional, my job was more suited to freelancing than John's sales role. Even so, when I first went independent, I struggled with unfamiliar tasks like sales and network setup, and John should have known about these difficulties. But seeing him so different now, I was at a loss for words.
Forget it.
What?
I'm just so tired of everything.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm tired of work, family, and everything.
John's words hit me like a punch.
I'm going to bed.
With that, he disappeared into his bedroom. The next day, he apologized, saying he was sorry for yesterday, but things started to change from then on.
I'm going out for drinks tonight, so no need for my dinner.
Okay, what time will you be back?
Oh, I don't know. Just go to bed.
All right. And he returned after midnight. His suits and the shirts sent for laundry had the lingering scent of women's perfume.
I'm going on a business trip to Seattle for 3 days.
What? You've never had an overnight business trip before.
What?
You used to say you were lucky that your territory was close by and you didn't have to travel overnight.
My assignment changed. Stop nagging me.
And just like that, John's business trips increased. From once a month to twice a month, and lately, almost every week. Yes, business trips aren't uncommon in sales. But at John's company, where I used to work, it's unusual for one person to have so many trips. Something was definitely off. Concerned about the lingering scent, I decided to talk to my best friend Kate, who still works at the same company as John, over dinner after work. Sorry for calling you out so suddenly.
No problem. How's Michael?
He's staying at my parents' tonight. Alice is spoiling him like crazy.
Oh, I see.
I have a sister, Alice, who is 5 years younger than me and still single, living at parents' home. While my parents adore their grandchild, Alice is especially doting to the point where it's almost comical. Kate, having seen them together several times, laughed at the memory.
So, what's up?
Aren't you busy with work right now?
Your husband's work isn't busy either, right?
Oh, so work is slow now?
What do you mean by that?
Has John really been reassigned to a job with so many business trips?
Huh?
John is supposedly on his business trip today, too.
John? But he's not on a trip today.
Really?
He was at the office as usual today.
I see. So I was right. John was probably meeting another woman under the guise of a business trip. Noticing my tense expression, Kate quickly added,
But it's true that his assignment changed and includes some overnight trips. He also has some day trips. Actually, his previous assignment had too few trips, and now it's more normal.
I see. Kate sighed and started speaking again, seeing that I was still troubled.
Actually, the reassignment was kind of sudden.
What?
You know John didn't get promoted, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right after that, John suddenly asked to change his assignment.
What?
I'm not in the same department, so I don't know all the details. But from what I saw, it seemed like John forced them to change his assignment.
Really?
Yes. Until then, he had requested assignments with as little travel as possible. But suddenly, he asked to switch with a newbie who had a lot of long business trips.
Did John say that?
Yes. Even the manager was surprised. Well, it seems the newbie was struggling with that territory. So in a way, John, being more experienced, was a better fit.
What? Why? Kate hesitated, looking like something was bothering her. Just say it. I can handle it.
Okay, I'll tell you. There's another person assigned to that territory, a woman named Christy. I think something's going on between them.
What do you mean by something?
I mean, I feel like John asked to be put in the same territory as her because they're involved.
Why?
Okay, I'll be honest. People have noticed them disappearing from the office and coming out of the archive room together. They've been seen out on all-day calls together, not returning until evening. Even after work, people have spotted them at nearby bars and pubs together until late.
So, Christy might be the one whose perfume I smelled on John's suit and shirts.
What?
When John comes home late, his suit and shirts sometimes have this lingering scent of women's perfume. I pulled out a handkerchief from John's suit pocket, still carrying the scent, and showed it to Kate.
Yeah, that's Christy's scent. It's that famous Chanel perfume.
I see. So, it's almost certain now.
Unfortunately, yes.
So, he's been saying he's on business trips but really meeting her. Today, he even left in our car, saying he had a business trip.
What? In your own car?
Yeah, it's strange, right? I noticed the car keys were gone, and when I checked the parking lot, the car was missing. Kate made a suggestion, seeing my forced smile.
Do you want to go check it out?
What does that mean?
I know Christy's address. Let's see if John is really going there.
You're right. We need to see it to believe it. If he's there, our car should be nearby.
Let's go then. I drove to work today, so I can take you there.
Kate and I quickly paid for dinner and drove to Christie's place. We saw two figures heading towards the apartment building from a nearby coin-operated parking lot.
What timing?
This is bad.
Hey, don't just stand there. I'll take pictures, you record a video.
Oh, okay. My hands trembled as I held the phone, whether from sadness or adrenaline. I couldn't tell. After they went inside, Kate gripped my hand tightly.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Kate, thank you.
Mary, can you be free next Wednesday and Thursday?
Why?
They have their business trip to Miami. I bet they're planning to spend time together there. Let's follow them.
All right, we've come this far. There's no turning back now. Michael has noticed something's off too.
Really?
He sees me looking sad sometimes and tries to cheer me up, saying, "Mom, let's hug." He even gets mad at John, telling him to be nicer to me. I can see Michael getting hurt by John's cold behavior.
That bad, huh? All right, I'll help you out. And our old colleagues will back you up too.
What?
Even if you quit, everyone still cares about you, Mary. Plus, it's easier to have someone on the inside, right?
Kate's sly smile lit a fire within me. Let's go all out. I'm going to take him down.
It's been a while since I've seen you this angry, Mary.
All his spending habits have finally turned towards another woman. It's the worst.
Wait a minute. John has a spending problem?
Yeah. To tell you the truth, he had to settle his debts and can't even get a credit card.
What?
The lease on our house is under my name, and the card he's using now is a family card under my name.
Seriously? Mary, you shouldn't put up with a guy like that. We'll help you, I promise.
Let's go back to my place and plan this out.
What?
You said you'd drive me home, right? There might be some evidence there, and you're staying over tonight, Kate.
Yes, ma'am. Got it, Captain.
We drove back to my place in Kate's car. With a highball in hand, we stayed up all night planning. About a month later, late at night, half a day after John had left for Singapore, my phone started ringing. Seeing the expected name on the screen, unable to suppress a smirk, I cleared my throat and tapped the screen.
Hey, why can't I use my credit card?
Even holding the phone away, I could hear his shouting. Don was clearly furious. What? What's wrong?
I tried to pay for something here, but the credit card isn't working. Did you do something? Huh?
Which card was that?
Don't play dumb. The family card you gave me.
Oh, that one. I canceled it.
What did you say? Why?
Because I don't need it.
Are you kidding me? I'm using it.
Oh, you mean the necklace, bag, and wallet from the luxury brand? I got a call from the card company because of the sudden high charges.
What do you mean? A call from the card company?
That card didn't have much activity for a long time, but then it was suddenly used frequently for expensive purchases. The card company thought it might be fraud.
Seriously?
I told them I hadn't made those purchases, so they investigated. They found out the charges matched the receipts and places where you'd been, the ones you threw away or left in your suit pockets. So they realized it was my husband. I knew it was you using it, but since it's a family card, it wasn't hard to figure out anyway. John was silent, probably in shock. I continued talking. So, I asked them to cancel it, I don't need it if I'm not using it.
But I'm using it.
Or rather, you're using it for someone else, right?
What?
Are you using women's jewelry and bags for yourself?
What?
Is that your new hobby?
No.
I don't know who you're giving those to, but the card is in my name. The bills come to me, so I canceled it. Any objections?
How am I supposed to manage here? I need money for food and other expenses, even on my business trip.
Don't worry. You don't need to make excuses about your business trips.
What?
Enjoy your last date as much as you can.
What?
Oh, and by the way, your phone is going to stop working soon.
What?
You'll have to buy a new SIM card or something over there. Bye. I ended the call abruptly and blocked John's number. I wondered how many days it would take for him to try to contact me again. As I pondered this, I looked at the pile of moving boxes in front of me. The truth was, right after John left for his supposed business trip, I had moved out. Kate had told me about John's long vacation, which coincided with his overseas trip with his mistress.
Are they really going overseas together?
Yes, he bought 2 tickets to Singapore with a family card I gave him. The dates match perfectly with his vacation. He even had a Singapore guidebook hidden away. It's confirmed.
Is he an idiot for using his wife's card for this?
Yeah, he's pretty stupid. That's why I'm moving out while he's away.
What?
The house is under my name, and the car is under my name too.
What? The car too?
Yes, and even the phone is under my name. So I'm going to take care of everything while he's on his little trip.
Everything?
I found this in his suit pocket the other day. I showed Kate the completed divorce papers I had found in John's pocket.
Who keeps something like this in their suit pocket?
It shows how careless and excited he is. If he's thinking that way, then so am I. No complaints, right?
Absolutely.
So, I'll get everything done at once. I remembered the day I found the divorce papers, feeling a cold anger. Packing, moving, and unpacking all in half a day was tough, but at least I managed to finish unpacking Michael's room by the end of the day. Tomorrow was Saturday, and Alice was coming to help with the unpacking and cleaning. She had also agreed to babysit Michael. I'll take care of everything during that time. Lost in these thoughts, I fell asleep, waking up the next day to another busy day. By nightfall, I finally had a moment of peace, but then my phone rang again. The screen showed an unknown number. Despite the quicker than expected call, I answered without hesitation. That was faster than I expected.
What?
It was John. I thought it would take longer. So you got a new SIM card?
Don't underestimate me. Even I can do that. But what's this about canceling the phone plan?
What are you talking about? What were you thinking, pretending it was a business trip and going to Singapore with your mistress?
I told you, it's a business trip.
Are you still making excuses? I know everything.
What?
I know you took vacation days to match your mistress's schedule, and you're in Singapore right now.
How did you know about it?
You are too careless.
What?
Kate, who works at the same company, checked your vacation and business trip schedules. And you bought the plane tickets by my family card, so it was easy to find out. You even had a Singapore guidebook at home. How could you lie about a business trip and go on a trip with your mistress?
Well,
By the way, I also know that you lied about business trips and stayed at your mistress's place.
oh my God.
That woman, Christy Williams, your junior, who joined the company after I left, lives in Queens, right?
What? How do you know?
Do you remember that I used to work at your company?
Oh, that's right.
I get information from Kate, our old colleagues, and even my former juniors and seniors. Things like how you forced a change in your assignment to work with her, how you both disappear together during work hours, or how you're often seen together at bars near the office.
Geez.
Kate knew her address. We saw you go into her apartment building together.
What?
You parked our car nearby and walked to the apartment, all lovey-dovey. We took pictures and videos as evidence, so it's confirmed.
What the hell are you doing?
Gathering evidence of your affair. You lied to me about business trips and spent the night at her place.
When did you find out?
I've known for a while now.
Oh no.
When you came home late or returned from a business trip, your suit and shirt smelled like women's perfume. Sometimes even your underwear.
What?
Apparently, you got so used to the smell that you didn't notice, but it was very obvious to me. I had Kate smell a handkerchief you had, and she immediately recognized Christie's perfume.
Is that much?
People at the company noticed the perfume smell too.
Really?
After you two came back from the archive room, they often smelled that perfume on you. The scent was so strong that your colleagues figured you must have been very close to her.
Jesus Christ.
People your age should know better. You two were so obvious that many people suspected something was going on. John was speechless at my barrage of information. Of course, he never imagined I knew this much. He probably thought he could go on his merry way with his overseas trip, but that's not all. By the way, even Michael noticed.
Michael, no way.
You let him play games on your phone at home, right?
Yeah.
Well, he read the messages from your mistress.
No way. Michael can't read yet.
Seriously? How old do you think Michael is? He's already 5. He can read and write not just the alphabet, but even simple sentences.
Are you really?
Michael noticed something was off between us. He didn't tell me directly, but told Alice when he was at my parents' house. He said, "Dad keeps saying he loves someone named Christy." I never imagined Michael would notice, but he did. The day I left Michael with my parents and met Kate, he shared an unbelievable story with Alice.
Alice,
Yes, Michael? Are you sleepy?
no. It's just that Dad and Mom don't seem to get along.
Really?
Yes. And Dad says he loves someone named Christy.
What? Someone named Christy?
When I was playing games on Dad's phone, messages from Christy kept popping up.
What did they say?
Stuff like "I had fun last time, I can't wait to see you, and I love you."
Really?
Yeah, they keep coming. Even though Mom is crying, Dad just keeps getting mad.
Mom is crying?
She was crying yesterday too. Alice, I hate seeing Mom cry. I hate Dad for saying he loves someone named Christy.
I was shocked. I never imagined Michael would say something like this, or feel this way. That's why I had to leave John. I couldn't let a traitor like John hurt Michael any longer. As a mother, I knew this was the right decision. To be hated by Michael. What have you done?
That's none of your business. I want to enjoy my life.
Fine then. Have it your way.
What?
I've already filed the divorce papers as you wished.
What do you mean?
I found the signed divorce papers in your suit pocket, filled out my part, and submitted them to the court today.
No way.
After a loud scream from the phone, John's endless shouting echoed. Why should I be the one getting yelled at? I switched to speakerphone. If you don't calm down, I'm going to hang up. With that, he quieted down, my ex-husband.
You submitted them. So it's done?
Yes, I submitted them first thing this morning. We've been strangers for over half a day now.
Oh my God.
Isn't that what you wanted? Why else would you have signed divorce papers in your suit pocket? Not noticing they were gone is pretty stupid, though.
Shut up.
So, I submitted them to fulfill your wish of being with Christy. Canceling the card and phone was part of that, so you should be grateful.
Grateful. What the hell are you talking about? Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? I'm someone who's had to deal with your nonsense for too long.
My parents won't allow this. Your parents won't either.
What?
Your family is proper and strict. They won't allow their eldest daughter to get divorced.
Of course they will.
What?
My parents dote on me. If they find out their beloved daughter was cheated on and mistreated, they'll demand I come home immediately.
Oh no. You cannot be serious.
And I've already informed your parents.
Are you serious?
I had to send your stuff to them, so I called them yesterday. They understood completely.
My stuff. What stuff?
Your belongings from the house. I packed everything and sent it to your parents' place.
Why?
Because I moved out.
Did you move out?
We're divorced. We can't live together anymore, so I moved.
Are you kidding me? You could have left my stuff at the houses.
The house is leased under my name. I'm not leaving you there, especially when you haven't paid a dime in rent.
Because
You have no right to complain. When you come back, you won't be able to get into the house. Go to your parents' place. John mumbled something in response. His words were not clear to me. Frustrated, I warned him again that I would hang up, and John threw back his response.
I can't come back to the States.
What?
I don't have a return ticket. I can't come back.
His weak voice came through the phone. Looks like you only bought a one-way ticket.
I was scared you'd find out about the big charge.
If you were that worried, you shouldn't have bought the ticket or the luxury goods in the first place.
I know, but now I don't have a return ticket.
Use cash or a debit card. Figure something out.
I don't have enough money left to buy a ticket.
Seriously, that's embarrassing. Your spending habits haven't changed at all. What about your girlfriend? Why don't you ask her to cover for you? John fell silent. After a long pause, he muttered something in a low voice.
She already left.
Why?
She bought a ticket for herself and left.
No way. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. I was in hysterics. John had been dumped by his girlfriend. I didn't know what happened between them, but it was a fitting end. Christy left you?
Yes.
So, she went back alone, leaving you behind? Did she tell you that a man with no money is useless?
Well,
I hit the nail on the head. She was the kind of woman who demanded luxury goods and overseas trips from a man. When the money runs out, so does the relationship. At her age, it makes sense for her to find another man who can support her lifestyle. It looks like your parting words came true. There really is power in words.
what did you say?
I told you you'd regret it, and you said you might never come back.
I did say that.
Now you have no money, no ticket, no family, no girlfriend. Why not just stay there?
No way. I'm coming back. Do something.
But you might lose your job too. Is there any point in coming back?
What do you mean?
I submitted evidence to your company.
Evidence of what?
Your affair with Christy.
What?
I couldn't let your little love affair, disguised as business trips and outings, go unchecked. I even went to your so-called business trip destinations to gather evidence.
No way.
I have plenty of photos and videos that will be very useful.
You're crazy.
No, you're the crazy one, abandoning your family for your selfish desires.
I'm sorry.
I don't need your last-minute apology. You and your girlfriend will have to take full responsibility for everything.
What do you mean, everything?
You have responsibilities to us, to the company, and to society. And you'll also need to repay all those unauthorized charges through our lawyer.
What?
You have no right to complain. This is the consequence of your actions. Do your best to find a way back home. I said everything I needed to say. There was nothing left to discuss. The rest will be handled thoroughly through my lawyer. I hung up and blocked his number again. Later, I found out from Kate that John had returned to the States. A lot happened after that, and today we're having a small celebration at my house, enjoying a relaxing lunch on this weekend afternoon. He stormed into the office, yelling at our manager, "It's not my fault. It's all her doing, trying to blame everything on you," Kate said with an exasperated look. He was probably furious. His parents took their time sending him the money for a return ticket.
It can't be helped. His parents knew how unreliable he was and put their full trust in you, Mary, for supporting him so diligently. Betraying you is just him reaping what he sowed.
Yeah, when I called about our divorce, his parents kept apologizing.
3 weeks is long enough for a grown man to figure out how to survive.
By the time John finally returned, everything had changed. The evidence Kate and I submitted to the company was enough to take action. Christy, who had returned early, received an email from the company, came in crying, and had a meeting with her boss. If she was going to cry, she shouldn't have done it in the first place.
That's harsh, but it's true for you, Mary. So, are you able to get the alimony?
There's no way they can get out of it. Thanks to our brilliant lawyer, things are progressing smoothly.
That's great. He's really amazing, isn't he?
Yeah, thank you so much for the help.
What about John?
He's at his parents' house after quitting the company. His parents called me.
They're really good people. How did they end up with a son like him?
I wondered that too.
And then?
They assured me firmly that they would make sure you and Michael get the alimony and child support you need, so we won't have to worry.
That's really comforting.
Yes, all thanks to our wonderful lawyer managing things smoothly.
I'll let him know.
But seriously, I owe Kate and her lawyer boyfriend so much for their help this time. Michael, Alice, and my parents have also supported me, and we will need to continue supporting each other in the future. Is there anything I can do to thank them? I murmured softly, and Kate responded with a mischievous grin. What?
Let's go on a trip.
A trip?
Yes, a trip. You deserve a change of scenery, and your family needs a break too.
That's true. I do have some money now, and it's best to use it for everyone.
Exactly. For now, just go on a trip with your family. Whether it's somewhere in the country or even overseas, it doesn't matter.
Are you teasing me?
No, I mean it. Do something big. You've gotten rid of all the unnecessary baggage.
True. But how about you guys?
Just treat us to something nice later. Our friends want to see the happy you again.
Oh my gosh, you're making me cry.
What?
Everyone has been so good to me.
Well, of course, you're loved by everyone. You'll be fine without a man or two in your life.
I clinked my glass lightly against Kate's, saying, right? The love I received from everyone is something I'll cherish and repay throughout my life. First, I took a slow sip from my glass, thinking of all the fun times we would have together and picturing everyone's faces.
Actually, the groom slept with me.
Yolanda said this with such enthusiasm that it seemed like she might follow up with, "Yay." The room was in complete chaos. I could see my parents at a nearby table, looking like they were about to faint. However, despite the surrounding commotion, my mind regained its calm. Barry slept with Yolanda? No way, that can't be true, because I am Melissa McCarthy, a typical 28-year-old who graduated from a decently ranked college and now works in a clerical position at a major trading company. I wasn't exactly a failure, but I've always been average for better or worse. My academics were average, my athletic abilities were average, and my social life was average. I had no significant problems, but nothing particularly praiseworthy or outstanding either. This didn't change as I grew up. Despite my efforts, my work performance is average, and so are my housekeeping skills. Thinking back, my upbringing was pretty average too. A typical middle-class upbringing with parents working regular jobs. I went to college on a scholarship, so until recently, I have been paying back a fixed amount every month. I'm not unhappy about that, and I'm really grateful to my parents for raising me. However, my entire life has been completely ordinary. On the other hand, my best friend Yolanda Foster has lived a life completely opposite to mine. Yolanda is a colleague from my company. We became friends because we were the only two women assigned to the same department after joining the company. We had a transition from just being close to becoming true friends thanks to Yolanda's personality. Unlike me, she is cheerful and sociable, never shy around people. She graduated from a prestigious university and was even a runner-up in a beauty contest. Despite her family's wealth and owning a company, she isn't stuck up at all. Sure, she's confident and dates handsome guys from top companies, but she's capable at her job and always attracting attention because of her charm. She's also considerate and proactive. She's different from me. Maybe I'm just envious of Yolanda. Even though I consider her my best friend, thinking about our differences always makes me feel uneasy. With a sigh, I press the enter key harder than necessary. After 5 years at the company, even if I'm not very efficient, I'm used to the work. So, even while lost in thought, my fingers keep typing on the keyboard. Then, I feel a light tap on the back of my head.
Hey, Melissa, what's with the sigh? Frustrated?
It didn't hurt at all, but I turn around in my chair, rubbing the back of my head. Yolanda is standing there with a rolled-up document in her hand. Yolanda.
Seriously, you haven't made any progress with your work? You're so inefficient. Lunch is in 30 minutes.
Yolanda peeks at my desk and comments with a look of exasperation. I'm used to hearing this, but today it stings a bit. Wow, it's that late already? I need to hurry. I check the clock in a panic and get back to work. I have to finish this by 3 p.m.
Hey, where are we going for lunch?
Oh, sorry. I don't have time for lunch today.
What? You're behind on your work. Come on, let's go. The Italian place on Oak Street.
Wait, but I really don't have time. Before I can finish, Yolanda is already gone, walking briskly out of the office, probably heading to the restroom. Her neatly curled chestnut hair sways behind her slim back. Several male employees stop working to watch her leave. She's so pushy. That's her spoiled side showing. I think to myself, feeling it's no wonder I complain. Yolanda's bad habit is not listening to others. But I know she means well. Maybe she's trying to cheer me up and take me out for a change of pace since I'm clearly struggling with my work. I pulled myself together and focused on my work for the next 30 minutes until lunch break. Yolanda's favorite Italian restaurant is a 5-minute walk from the office. It's a stylish place with delicious food, quite different from the typical lunch spots for office ladies, fitting for someone like Yolanda. A $30 lunch? I would never come here alone.
I really want a boyfriend. We're 28 already, right? It's about time to get married and leave the company. Oh, Melissa, you have a boyfriend, right?
Despite her casual tone, she skillfully handles the knife and fork. I twirl some pasta around my fork, impressed by her upbringing showing through in moments like this. Yeah, I do. I reply, suddenly remembering something. Oh, right. I'm getting married next month. As I continue in the same tone, Yolanda's smooth movements come to a sudden halt.
What?
Yolanda's surprised voice drowns out the elegant classical music playing in the background.
Wait, I didn't know about that. When did this happen?
Well, he just proposed last week, and I haven't had the chance to tell you.
By the way, what kind of guy is your boyfriend? I don't think I've heard about him before.
Her eyes, framed by thick lashes, glare at me resentfully. Even though she says she hasn't heard about him, it's really because she never listened to my stories. Used to this by now, I brush off my irritation with a sigh and start explaining about my boyfriend. He graduated from the top university in the country and currently works at a top-tier company. We've been dating for 2 years since we met at work, and it's been a calm and steady relationship. Being with him makes me feel secure, and most importantly, I can be myself around him. However, as I approached 30, I started to worry about whether we would just continue dating or eventually get married. At that moment, as if he could read my mind, he proposed. So, Yolanda, I was wondering if you could give a speech at the wedding. Would you? I confide in Yolanda something I've been thinking about since the proposal. Her response is a bit reluctant, but she agrees. Given her pride, she might not be thrilled that her best friend is getting married before her. But as I naively thought that, I didn't notice the strained look on Yolanda's face. On the wedding day, Yolanda came to the waiting room before the ceremony started.
Congratulations, Melissa.
She walked in with a smile, looking so beautiful that she could outshine the bride. Since my groom, Barry, was there, I thought it was a good opportunity to introduce them. Thank you, Yolanda. This is my husband, Barry. Barry, this is my best friend, Yolanda.
Nice to meet you. I'm Barry Klein. Melissa has told me a lot about you. Thank you for coming today.
Barry smiled warmly at Yolanda and bowed his head.
Nice to meet you. I'm Yolanda Foster. Melissa, when did you catch such a handsome guy?
She replied in her usual tone, smiling back at Barry. After that, I expected her to stick around, finding excuses to stay longer, but she left the room quickly. I felt a slight sense of unease at her behavior. What's going on? Yolanda has been acting a bit distant since I told her about the wedding. As I stared at the door Yolanda left through, lost in thought, Barry murmured,
What's up with her?
Huh? I looked up to see him with a puzzled expression, his hand on his chin as if deep in thought. When I asked what was wrong, he said he also felt something was off with Yolanda.
When she saw my face, she looked surprised for a moment. Have we met somewhere before?
Even as he said that, he didn't seem to recall anything. Yolanda is a striking beauty, so it's unlikely he's confusing her with someone else. Though we both felt something was off, we couldn't find an answer, and the wedding reception began. The large venue was filled with round tables, and everyone, familiar and unfamiliar, wore smiles. As I surveyed the room from the head table, the reality of getting married slowly sank in. I had always thought I'd never get married. An ordinary life, an ordinary day-to-day existence. I didn't know if not getting married was normal or not, but I had always imagined I'd live alone. Until I met Barry. The reception proceeded smoothly, and it was time for the friend's speech. I unconsciously looked at Yolanda. She stood up gracefully and walked towards us, her heels clicking on the floor. Wow, she's gorgeous, and is she a celebrity? Were among the whispers I heard. For some reason, instead of feeling inferior as usual, I felt proud of the compliments Yolanda received today. I looked up at Yolanda as she stood at the microphone, feeling unusually calm. She looked even more beautiful than usual today. I hope she finds a good guy soon, though it might be hard for her to choose because she's so picky. As I was thinking that, she suddenly looked at me with a mischievous glint in her eye.
Melissa, congratulations. I was debating whether to say this, but I don't want to hide anything from my best friend, and I don't want it to come out after the wedding and cause trouble, so I'll say it.
With that preface, Yolanda smiled brightly. Huh. The room started to buzz. My calm heart was suddenly thrown into turmoil. What is she going to say? When I turned to look at Barry, he looked just as confused. Barry glanced at me as if he had no idea what was happening. In hindsight, I should have stopped Yolanda then.
Actually, the groom slept with me.
Yolanda declared this with such an almost celebratory tone that it seemed like she might follow up with yay. The room descended into chaos. I could see my parents at a nearby table, looking like they were about to faint. However, despite the surrounding chaos, my mind regained its calm. Barry slept with Yolanda? No way, that can't be true, because he... Yolanda, what are you talking about?
Sorry, I can't keep secrets. It's exactly what I said. We slept together.
That's impossible.
Huh?
Yolanda's beautiful face twisted into a mocking smile. It was no longer beautiful at all. Because my husband.
I'm gay.
Barry's voice overlapped with mine.
What?
The microphone picked up Yolanda's dumbfounded voice. The room was in an uproar, and it was hard to tell who was saying what. Yolanda stood there, stunned. The speech was no longer the focus. At that moment, the door swung open with a bang, and a man burst in.
Barry, sorry I'm late.
The man at the entrance looked exactly like the groom. Yolanda looked back and forth between the man and Barry, speechless.
Glad I made it, but what's with the mood here?
The man walked towards us, puzzled by the atmosphere. As he approached, he noticed Yolanda and called out.
Hey, long time no see. What are you doing here?
He raised his hand and greeted Yolanda casually.
Wait a minute. What? 2 berries? What's going on?
Yolanda, who had been so assertive moments ago, now sat down weakly. Finally understanding the situation, I got up and walked over to Yolanda. Actually, Fred and my husband Barry are identical twins. At first glance, they look like the same person. But if you look closely, you can see their different personalities in their eyes. Barry, the older brother, has gentle eyes, while his younger brother, Fred, has a mischievous look. But unless you're close to them, it's hard to tell them apart. Unlike his brother, Fred graduated from high school and has been working part-time since. He's sociable and good at interviews, but he keeps quitting jobs and looking for new ones. Fred also has a complicated relationship with women. He often pretends to be his brother and dates multiple women, causing trouble for Barry. However, because Fred is likable and Barry is forgiving, they have a good relationship. Yolanda. I gently placed my hand on Yolanda's shoulder as she sat on the floor, dejected. Yolanda had made an outrageous confession at my wedding. In the end, it was a misunderstanding and she ended up ruining herself. But she tried to trample on my happiness. However, I didn't know what to feel towards her. After all, this was the first time I had seen her so crushed. I realized now that I had always admired Yolanda, who was full of confidence despite everything.
I'm sorry for the disturbance. That was a prank planned by her and me. I'm not good at such things, and I apologize for the awkward atmosphere.
Barry tried to smooth things over. The room, which had been buzzing, gradually calmed down, and I could hear people murmuring. So it was a prank. Regardless of how well the follow-up was, he was trying to look out for Yolanda, who had embarrassed herself in front of everyone.
But it is true that I am gay, and it is also true that I love Melissa.
From there, Barry spoke confidently. Yes, Barry is gay. When we got to know each other and started to grow closer, he told me himself. I was surprised and shocked, but he told me he still wanted to be with me. Despite having only been attracted to men, Barry grew to love me as a person, beyond gender. It's a little different from romantic love, but he respects me deeply as a soulmate and as a person. His feelings settled into my heart. It was certainly shocking to have my previous notions overturned. But love is not only about romance. I felt a growing desire to respond to his feelings. I decided to love everything about him, his career, his good looks, his pure-hearted nature, and the fact that he sincerely faced his identity as a gay man while loving me. When Barry finished his speech, the room was filled with warm applause. Looking at my parents, I saw my father clapping hard with tears in his eyes and my mother pressing a tissue to her eyes. Dad, Mom, I'm going to be happy with him. The ceremony smoothly moved on to the entertainment portion. As I was about to ask Yolanda to return to her seat, she shook off my hand and whispered weakly,
What is this? This is stupid. I'm leaving.
Yolanda. She staggered to her feet and walked unsteadily toward the exit. I couldn't bring myself to follow her. On her way out, Yolanda passed by Fred, who had been sitting during Barry's speech. He called out to her,
Oh, you're leaving already. Oh, what's your name again? I forgot, but let's hang out again. I don't need a girlfriend right now, just friends.
That was the final blow for Yolanda.
Oh man, wah.
She cried out like a child and dashed out of the venue. Yolanda. I called after her, but she didn't look back. Somehow, the ceremony ended successfully, and Barry and I went on our honeymoon. After a long break, when I returned to work, Yolanda was gone. I heard that she had requested a transfer right after our wedding. While I felt a bit let down, I was also somewhat relieved because it would have been awkward to face her. So, what happened to Yolanda after that? It seemed she was so shocked by being deceived by Fred that her flashy lifestyle completely changed. She had been manipulating men and cheating without a care, but when she was the one betrayed, she quickly developed a distrust of men. Time has passed since then, and now several years have gone by since I turned 30. Yolanda is still single and hasn't been able to get married. Furthermore, the story of her speech at my wedding spread among our colleagues, and the people who used to fawn over her became distant. Her prideful nature meant even the younger colleagues didn't warm up to her, leaving her completely isolated and in the position of an office queen bee. As for me, I've drifted apart from Yolanda since the wedding, but I continue to work and live happily with Barry. Though we sleep in separate bedrooms, our hearts are undeniably close, and we can proudly say that we are each other's only partner. Marrying Barry made me realize what true love is for the first time. I look back and wonder what those days of lamenting about my ordinary life were for, as I am now so incredibly happy every single day.
Don't you dare take her to a doctor.
I noticed a strange swelling in my 10-year-old daughter's belly. As I hurried to take her to the hospital, my husband yelled and blocked my way. Why was he so frantic? Was there something he feared would be discovered during the examination? When I quietly took my daughter to the hospital, the doctor gave us a diagnosis that I never expected. And from my daughter's own words, I learned a shocking truth that left me trembling with rage. I will never forgive him. This anger was directed at my husband, whom I thought adored our daughter. I never imagined he could do such a thing. My husband, Kenny, and I worked together at my father's toy company, though we joined the workforce at different times. It eventually led to an office romance and then marriage. After getting married, I resigned, and a year later, I found out I was pregnant. But not everything was going smoothly. This all happened when I was 9 months pregnant. Kenny, what's the meaning of this?
What's got you so angry?
I mean this. Don't you have anything to say about this bank account?
That is...
My husband had withdrawn $3,000 from our joint saving without telling me. The baby is coming soon, and we need every penny. What on earth did you spend such a large amount on? I was furious because we had been saving every month for the future.
I spent it on anime. There was this character I really liked, and I just had to have the merchandise.
Kenny's mumbling and lack of clarity in speech finally pushed me over the edge with anger. Anime, with a family on the way, what are you thinking? We're getting a divorce.
Wait, just calm down, okay?
He was panicking, trying to soothe me. I am calm. Who do you think made me this angry? Do you even understand what being a parent means?
I'm sorry. I won't do it again, I promise. Please forgive me.
Watching him beg for forgiveness, my anger began to subside. I regretted impulsively mentioning divorce. Considering the arrival of our child made me nervous about raising her alone, so I decided to forgive Kenny. After that, he seemed to have learned his lesson and enjoyed his hobbies with just his allowance. Soon after, I gave birth to our daughter. The daughter, born 10 years ago weighing just over 5 pounds, is now in 4th grade. I used to worry about her slow growth compared to other kids, but now I realize it was unnecessary worry.
I might soon be taller than you, Mom.
Jennifer, innocently laughing, had shot up in heights in starting elementary school and might indeed surpass me soon. She even looked mature for her age, often mistaken for a middle schooler. As for Kenny, he lacked fatherly awareness for a while after Jennifer was born, doing things only when I asked him to. I can't exactly pin down when that started, but seems like he started getting oddly interested in our daughter since she started growing up, and he began actively participating in parenting too. Kenny adores our only daughter, and Jennifer loves her dad dearly.
All right, Jennifer. After we take a shower together today, let's sneak some ice cream without telling Mom.
Yeah, let's do that. Daddy, let's go take a quick shower.
Hey, Mom can hear everything, you know? It wasn't just the shower. They sometimes slept in the same bed too, a habit from her early years, which I found endearing. But I started to wonder if maybe we should stop this behavior. It came up during a coffee date with some mom friends.
Recently, my daughter has started to detest my husband. It's been tough.
Really? How so?
She tells him, "Dad, you stink. Don't come near me," in such a strong tone that my husband is getting depressed.
That must be sad for him. We're still in a phase where she loves her dad. They still take showering together and share a bed.
Really?
The moment I shared this, I saw a surprised, somewhat taken aback look on my friend's face, making me feel it wasn't the norm. Maybe that's strange.
Not necessarily strange. My husband stopped showering with our daughter before she reached 2nd grade, saying it felt embarrassing for him.
Is that so? But my daughter is 10 now, and her body is starting to change, becoming more like a woman.
Jennifer is quite mature, isn't she? But it's nice that she loves her dad.
My friend tried to reassure me, but I couldn't shake the thought from my mind. So that night, I brought it up with Kenny. "Hey, how long do you plan to keep showering with Jennifer?"
Huh? Why ask all of a sudden? But well, as long as possible, I guess.
Are you serious? My friend's husband stopped before their daughter was in 2nd grade because he felt it was inappropriate.
So what? That's them. Jennifer loves me, so it's fine.
Kenny seemed not to take it seriously. Thinking deeply wasn't his thing. But I wondered if there would come a time when Jennifer naturally starts to avoid her father. She doesn't seem to mind now, so I decided to wait and see a little longer. However, I would later regret not considering this more deeply. A few weeks later, one morning. "Jennifer, good morning. Hurry up, or you'll be late."
Good morning.
"What happened to you?" My daughter's pajamas were strangely disheveled when she woke up. I had noticed her clothes disordered before, but that day, she also seemed listless, pale, and downcast. "Jennifer, are you okay? Do you feel sick? Does something hurt?"
No, I'm fine. Maybe I'm just really hungry. I've been getting hungry a lot lately. Maybe it's a growth spurt."
She forced a bright smile, but her evasive manner made me suspicious. "You can tell me if something's bothering you anytime."
Yeah, I got it.
She quickly looked away, then started eating her breakfast with a smile. After this incident, I noticed a change in her. Gradually, Jennifer began avoiding Kenny.
Jennifer, what shall we talk about while lying in bed tonight?
I think I'll sleep with Mom tonight. I have a lot I want to talk to her about.
You can talk to Mom anytime, right? Dad only gets to talk to you at bedtime because of work.
Yeah, I know, but...
She averted her eyes from her father and fell silent. I promised Jennifer we'd have some girl talk tonight. Another time with Dad, maybe. I playfully bailed her out, and Kenny clicked his tongue and left the living room. "Are you okay? You can say no to Dad if you don't like it."
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
She continued to avoid her father, who still tried to invite her to showering and sleep together. "Jennifer is hitting puberty. Maybe you should stop pressuring her." I hinted to Kenny, but he looked alarmingly angry. I was happy to see her grow and naturally start to set boundaries with her father, but it seemed he saw it differently. Perhaps it's hard for a dad to accept his daughter drifting away, so I didn't dwell on it much. Months later, I was shocked to see Jennifer's lower abdomen unusually swollen one morning. Guess what? Jennifer's lower abdomen is oddly swollen. "Jennifer, what happened to your belly?"
What do you mean?
She seemed unconcerned, but it was clearly not normal. "Look at this, Kenny. Shouldn't we take her to the hospital?" In a rush, I called my husband from the bathroom where he was getting ready and showed him Jennifer's swollen belly.
Don't you dare take her to a doctor.
After a brief look of surprise, he suddenly raised his voice and started to panic. But this swelling in her belly is definitely not normal, right?
Anyway, going to the doctor is out of the question. Don't you dare take her there.
Kenny kept insisting on it before heading off to work. Something is not right. But I can't just not take her to the hospital. Of course, I feel responsible for not noticing sooner, but there's no time for leisurely talk. It could be too late if something happens to her. Jennifer, we need to go to the hospital. Get ready.
But Dad said not to go.
We'll handle it. Don't worry. I just had to get her in the car and drive to the hospital. Jennifer, it's going to be okay. Everything will be fine. Once we arrived at the hospital, I tried to calm my increasingly anxious daughter as we waited. Feeling her belly again, it was noticeably swollen in the lower abdomen.
Mom, I'm sorry for keeping quiet. I've been feeling sick and haven't been able to eat much lately. And recently, there seems to be something in my belly.
The dreadful thought that she might be pregnant crossed my mind. But my daughter is only 10 years old. If that were the case, then who could the guy who got her pregnant be? The very thought sent shivers down my spine. Soon the examination was over, and the doctor gave us unexpected results. If only I had paid more attention to you, this wouldn't have happened. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault, Mom, but Dad.
Gradually, Jennifer started to reveal bits and pieces of what happened to her. What she disclosed was a shocking truth that had been hidden. As I stroked Jennifer's back as she cried, my emotions were in turmoil with anger towards my husband and an indescribable sense of disgust. I won't ever forgive him doing such a thing to my daughter. I was determined to make him regret it, no matter what. Immediately upon returning home, I checked Kenny's study, then made a phone call to a certain place. Next, I texted my husband. I'll be late tonight due to the neighborhood association meeting. Jennifer is feeling unwell and sleeping. With everything set, I left my daughter at my parents' house and waited at home for my husband's return that night. When he was about to come home, I pretended to be Jennifer and hid under her covers in the bed, holding my breath.
I'm home.
Kenny came home earlier than usual, seemingly in a good mood, went straight to his room, and then entered my daughter's room with something in his hand. He stood by the bedside, convinced that our daughter was there, and ran his hand over the covers. Just as I suspected. Despicable! Hiding under the covers so he wouldn't notice, my disgust grew as he continued to touch.
Jennifer, you're feeling unwell, aren't you? Are you okay?
I shook my head under the blanket, and then he started speaking in a coaxing tone.
Let me see your face. Maybe you'll feel better after seeing Daddy, huh?
Kenny kept talking persistently and even tried to forcibly remove the blanket. The struggle ensued between me, holding the blanket tightly, and my husband trying to see my face at all costs.
You don't have to be shy anymore. Daddy has been lonely because Jennifer has been so cold lately.
With a voice that sounded more like he was talking to a lover than our daughter, I gritted my teeth and endured, despite the creepy feeling.
Looks like Mom's gonna be late coming home tonight. So now's the perfect time to take it easy and spend some quality time doing our usual thing, you know.
Unable to bear the eerie voice any longer, I grabbed the blanket and pulled myself up. What do you mean usual stuff? What are you taking your time with?
Well, Jennifer, What are you doing here all of a sudden?
Shocked, Kenny stumbled backward, fell down, and scattered what he was holding across the floor. Then, seeing me, he got a panicked look.
Why is Natalie here? What about the neighborhood association meeting? Where's Jennifer?
Oh, that was a lie. I had to do it to expose your true self.
What? That's slow of you.
Say what you will. I was surprised that Kenny believed the email and acted exactly as I had anticipated. He fell for the trap and showed his true colors.
Hey, explain what you are intending to do.
I should be the one asking for explanations. What is this? You intended to put it on Jennifer. I pointed to the items Kenny had dropped on the floor. Seemingly forgetting them in his panic, he hastily gathered them up, clutching them close.
This is, well, it's a present for Jennifer. I thought it would suit her.
Really? Unable to withstand my gaze, he was stuttering and sweating profusely. But this is clearly a cosplay outfit, right? What my husband had was unmistakably a costume of an anime character that men would fancy. Moreover, the costume had large openings at the shoulders and chest, and the skirt was extremely short. Calling this a present really makes me question your taste.
This is. Jennifer said she wanted to try it on because it looked cute.
My husband was stammering, sweating profusely. That's one of those late-night anime sexy characters, right? There's no way she'd watch something like that.
Well, you see.
Kenny fell silent after that and didn't attempt to answer. Did you intend to dress Jennifer as well and take pictures in this? My husband visibly paled at my remarks.
Well, it's not like. I didn't mean it like that, but. Well, if we can take photos as a memento, I guess I wouldn't mind.
Oh, really? You've been doing this all along. I thrust an album in front of him. It was something I found stashed away in the back of the closet when I checked his study, something he seemed to treasure. There were numerous cosplay photos tucked inside.
Hey, don't you dare touch my treasures with your filthy hands.
Kenny, who had only been speaking hesitantly until then, suddenly changed his demeanor, shoved me aside, and snatched the album away. Ouch. What are you doing? There's no need to be so rough.
You're the one who recklessly took my stuff out. It's all your fault. It's all because of you.
How? Why would you say that? While cradling the snatched album protectively, my husband glared at me.
Because it's true. It's all your fault for restricting my anime hobby.
Furthermore, my husband started complaining that with only his allowance, he couldn't afford the merchandise of his favorite anime characters, and he couldn't even attend events easily.
And on top of that, when our child was just born, I was even robbed of the time to watch anime while being forced to babysit.
I was left speechless by my husband's assertions. Yet, he continued to press his argument.
But Jennifer's growth is so rapid, and she's gradually becoming more like a favorite character in terms of her physique. So I couldn't help but look forward to it.
Seeing him flipping through the album with such fascination sent shivers down my spine. You've got to be kidding me. Do you have any idea how much Jennifer was agonizing over this? She's only 10 years old, and yet she's been through such terrifying experiences. The truth is, on the way back from the hospital, I had heard this story from my daughter. My husband said that when he slept with her in the middle of the night, he always dressed Jennifer in costumes and took pictures of her. At first, she was happy and excited to be able to wear cute clothes, but lately, with so many skin-bearing outfits, she gradually started to dislike it. So Jennifer said she didn't want to wear them anymore, but my husband wouldn't budge at all. Furthermore, Jennifer became scared after finding out that Kenny was posting the photos he took on social media. Surprised to hear that, I checked my husband's computer, where there were rows of photos of a girl with clearly still a kid body. Although her face wasn't clearly visible, they were obviously Jennifer's figure without any doubt.
Stop snooping around other people's stuff.
Well, if you're that concerned, you should have set a password or something. I could have easily looked at it as soon as you opened the computer. Adding insult to injury, I further pressed my husband, who looked frustrated as he bit his lip. And to top it off, you've been making quite a bit of money selling those photos, haven't you?
Well,
I heard Jennifer's classmates found cosplay photos online that looked like her and showed them to her. She was pretty shocked and devastated by it, you know? But because Jennifer had been sworn to secrecy about the photos by Kenny, she couldn't confide in anyone and kept it to herself. And because of that, Jennifer's belly has been.
Could it be that she's pregnant? But I have no idea. It's none of my business anyway.
More concerned about himself than our daughter's well-being. He's truly the worst. No, that's not it. Jennifer was so stressed out that she developed severe constipation. The abnormal bloating in our daughter's belly was due to stress-induced constipation. When the doctor informed us at the hospital, I felt relieved, but at the same time, I deeply regretted not realizing the extent of our daughter's suffering and struggles.
Did you take her to the hospital? Didn't I tell you not to show her to the doctor?
I wonder if you thought it'd be bad if Jennifer said something during the examination.
Ugh.
The reason my husband doesn't retort must have hit close to home. Without a word, I thrust the divorce papers I had prepared at him. My husband's expression momentarily showed surprise.
Divorce? Well, divorce might be inevitable, but I'll take custody of Jennifer.
How? What are you talking about?
Because Jennifer is attached to me. Besides, I earn more, so I'll easily get custody.
Even at this point, he's convinced he can twist things to suit himself. He smirked. You're so full of yourself. But she already said she doesn't want to see her dad anymore.
Stop lying. There's no way she'd say that.
I took out my phone and showed him a message from Jennifer that read, "I hate Dad."
That's a lie. She loves me. She's my Jennifer.
Suddenly, Kenny began throwing whatever he could find in the room, causing a commotion. It was ridiculous, like a child throwing a tantrum after having their toy taken away. Seeing it was futile to intervene, I watched in disbelief.
It's your fault. I'll never forgive you.
A few minutes later, when there was nothing left to throw, he turned his angry gaze toward me, but his childish behavior just made me sigh. I never imagined my husband could be such a wimp. But I can't afford to lose for the sake of my precious daughter. I've already told my parents everything about our divorce and the reasons behind it. You have to explain it to your parents yourself. I could explain the truth without twisting it, but what will you do?
Wait a minute. Does your dad already know about this?
That's what I just said, isn't it?
Why do you always do whatever you want? This is our family's problem. It has nothing to do with your parents.
While scratching his head in frustration and pacing around the room, my husband began to vent his irritation at me.
It's not unrelated. Jennifer is our precious granddaughter.
At that moment, the door opened and my father walked in. My husband, who had been so confident until then, shrank back in surprise.
Sam?
With the arrival of my father, Sam, who is not only Kenny's father-in-law, but also the president of his company, Kenny, who used to be full of confidence, suddenly shrunk.
First, as the president of your company, let me tell you, we run a company that makes stories that make children excited. We don't need employees who treat children like products. You're fired.
That's Sam. Please spare me that much.
Although my husband panicked at the idea of losing his job, my father continued speaking without paying any mind to it.
As Jennifer's grandfather this time, knock it off. It's disgusting to look at your own daughter like that.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it again, I swear. Please.
Kenny panicked and offered a sincere apology to my father.
Natalie, can't you say something to Sam? Convince him for me.
Seemingly realizing he couldn't handle it alone, my husband came crying to me for help. As far as I'm concerned, we're already divorcing and becoming strangers. Whatever happens to you doesn't concern me anymore. The company's affairs are decided by my father anyway.
Don't be so cold-hearted. We've been married for over 10 years, haven't we?
Unfortunately, that's true. As I sighed, my husband seemed to think I might forgive him, so he crept closer to me. I regret not divorcing when I found out about the embezzlement of savings before Jennifer was born. Pushing Kenny away, I once again placed the divorce papers in front of him, and he suddenly became defiant.
I'm not getting divorced. I take back what I said earlier. Since you haven't signed it yet, it's fine, right?
How? What are you talking about? No matter how much you say that, my decision to divorce is firm, so it's a waste of time. Despite my refusals, my husband, who kept coming closer, finally prostrated himself before me.
Let's just calmly talk this over, Natalie. If we talk, we'll eventually understand each other.
Nah, it's already impossible. Still persistent, my husband continued to cling to me, crying.
Then, if I said I'd give up this hobby, would you forgive me? Please forgive me.
I couldn't help but regret marrying someone so selfish and self-centered, who only thinks of themselves. I'm tired of you only caring about yourself. Think about how deep the scars on Jennifer's heart are. Compared to that, your job loss is nothing but a joke.
But...
Even as I looked at him coldly, he continued to mutter excuses. Stop with the excuses and nonsense. You involved our precious daughter in your hobby, treated her like a product, and expect forgiveness. Goodbye already. Unable to say anything in return, my husband slumped to the floor and began sobbing uncontrollably. In the following days, the divorce between Kenny and me was finalized. I made sure to dispose of all the photos we had taken of our daughter, wiping out every trace of them. I demanded a lump sum of $100,000 from my husband as compensation for the emotional damage to our daughter and child support. And as my father had declared, he was indeed fired from his job. There were various speculations within the company about his sudden resignation, but eventually, the talk faded away, and my husband, who wasn't particularly good at his job to begin with, was completely forgotten. Kenny apparently went into debt for the compensation, and now he works multiple part-time jobs every day. On the other hand, my daughter and I moved back to my parents' house and started a new life. Jennifer, who is now cheerful and smiling every day, attends school energetically. As a mother, I want to continue protecting my daughter firmly in the future.
My name is Emma. I'm 28 years old. I work in the general affairs department of a relatively large trading company. My boyfriend is Bob. He's a senior from my college club, 2 years older than me, and we've been dating for 8 years. About 4 to 5 years ago, we started thinking about marriage, and both of us began saving money for it bit by bit. Then, on my birthday this year, he finally proposed to me. I had this girlish fantasy where he would snap his fingers in a fancy restaurant, enjoying a delicious meal and wine, and a waiter would nod, dim the lights. A spotlight would then shine on our table alone, and he would take a small box from his inner pocket and gently open it. But in reality, it happened during one of our camping trips, which aligns with our shared hobby. While his favorite pork soup simmered over the campfire, I was sipping on my favorite strong canned drink. When the logs in the campfire crackled, he rummaged through a bag, pulled out a small box, and said,
"This.
"What's this?"
It's a ring."
"A ring?"
"Yeah, let's get married. It's about time we made it official, don't you think?"
"I guess it's about time for me too, so sure."
"All right, it's settled then."
"Yeah." Cheers. We were quite tipsy at the time. Looking back, I thought we could have done something a bit more special, but a celebrity-style proposal just wouldn't suit us. Perhaps this kind of proposal was just right for us. Sometime after the proposal day, Bob came to greet my parents at my home.
"I'm nervous."
Just think of this as the first challenge and do your best. It's for us, after all.
"Well, today is my challenge, but next time it's your turn."
Yeah. I'm fully prepared. I'll take today's experience with you as a reference.
"Sheesh, you're as shrewd as ever."
Blame yourself for falling for such a woman. Look, you can see the house now.
"All right. Let's do this with spirit."
Spirit is good, but make sure your appearance is neat too. Look, your tie. Saying that, I straightened and tightened his tie. Do I already sound like a wife? I was a bit pleased, but that's a secret from him. My parents' house is a standalone home in the suburbs. The house itself has 5 rooms, but the yard is quite spacious. My father has always loved the outdoors and met my mother while mountain hiking. That's probably why I also love the outdoors and took up camping as a hobby. To me, it's just a normal family. Currently, my father is retired but works at a relative's company.
I joined the company with enthusiasm, but I hardly get any significant work. Still, I get paid, so life is pretty cushy. Ha.
So he says. Well, both of my parents are healthy and cheerful, which I tell myself is a good thing. When we arrived at the house, my parents greeted us together at the door. Bob seemed really nervous.
"Nice to meet you. I'm Bob."
Even saying his own name, which he must have said hundreds of times, came out with a stutter.
"I'd like to ask for your permission to marry your daughter."
Even so, the way he conveyed his intentions to my parents was so cool that I fell for him all over with his resolute demeanor. My father smiled and joked.
"Bob, are you sure about this girl? If you're okay with this, then by all means, go ahead."
What does he mean by this girl? My dad has always been like this.
Emma's getting married, huh? She'll be moving far away.
I was at a loss for words. My parents are always like this. Well, that's just how they are, so Bob's nervousness quickly faded, and what was supposed to be just a greeting turned into an invitation to stay for dinner, and then it spiraled into a full-blown party, ending with them insisting he stay the night. However, when my mother called his home to inform them he'd be staying, his father answered.
"I appreciate the gesture, but we'll have to decline this time. Staying suddenly in a house we don't know, we might end up with some bizarre charges later, and we wouldn't know how to handle that.
Such a rude thing to say. I remember hearing that Bob's dad was the CEO of a pretty large company.
Bizarre charges.
My mother asked back.
Yes, I'm a CEO, and Bob is the son of a CEO. There are many out there eager to leech money from us, and it's a nuisance. I don't want any relations with those who have a beggar's mentality.
So, are you saying that we are those penniless beggars?
Anger was seeping through my mother's voice.
I'm saying there's a possibility.
Understood. Then I'll tell Bob to go home.
Yes, please do.
With that, the call ended.
Who does he think he is? So rude.
My mother was furious. What happened?
It's nothing. I kindly offered for Bob to stay, and his father accused me of trying to extort money.
Bob arrived at that moment.
I'm sorry. My parents have been scammed before, so they tend to be suspicious of people's kindness.
It's not your fault, Bob. Well, we'll just have to slowly build a good relationship. Today was fun. Please take good care of Emma.
My father was patting Bob's shoulder as he apologized. Ultimately, Bob did not stay the night and went back home. At that time, I still didn't know the true nature of Bob's father. And then, it was my turn. Bob's father was an entrepreneur who built his wealth from scratch. He inherited a small ironworks from his parents and, with his excellent management skills, grew it into a large machinery manufacturer. Of course, his parents' home was also luxurious. Surrounded by high walls, it was a 3-story building made of reinforced concrete. Seeing such a grand house could make one feel intimidated.
Now it's Emma's turn to be nervous.
Bob joked. Of course I'm nervous.
Look, there it is. Make sure you're well dressed.
Thanks. Nervous, I entered the house and greeted my MIL, Jessica, who led me to the sitting room. There sat my FIL, Tom. Jessica prompted me to sit down in front of Tom. Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Emma. I am about to marry your son, Bob. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I'm Tom, Bob's father. Sorry to trouble you today. Well, I guess it's impossible not to be nervous, but make yourself comfortable.
Thank you very much. Meeting Bob's father for the first time. He had a rather stern look, and he seemed to be in a bad mood.
But let me ask you straight. What's your motive?
My motive?
To put it plainly, I'm the CEO of a major company. As you can see, I have considerable assets. I'm asking if that's your motive.
I was taken aback. Motive? The only purpose I can think of for marriage is that I love Bob and want to build a happy home together, yet here he is, conjuring up some far-fetched motives. No, I have not considered anything like that at all.
Excuse me, but what are your parents doing currently?
My father has retired and has taken a new job at my cousin's company, now working there. I'm not quite sure what he does, but he's happily employed. My mother is a homemaker, living healthily. Hearing this, Tom leaned back arrogantly. His arrogant posture made me furrow my brow in displeasure.
I see, but from what I hear, it doesn't sound like you come from a very wealthy background. What is your job?
Yes, I work in general affairs at a major trading company in the city.
General affairs isn't a career path where you can expect much advancement.
Well, yes, that's true.
So, you're planning to rely on Bob and me after getting married?
What? I blurted out in disbelief. What is this man talking about? At that point, my mindset switched. The whole polite and friendly greeting went right out the window. What do you mean by that? Tom said condescendingly.
Just what I said. Your family is poor, and you're scheming to marry into wealth with my rich son, right? Your parents are also counting on my son for some extra money to enjoy their old age.
He even insulted my parents with such remarks. Unacceptable. What did you say? I couldn't help but raise my voice. There's a limit to how much you can look down on people. I could feel my face flushing with anger. Bob tried to intervene.
Dad, that's going too far. Her parents were nice people. When I went to greet them, they welcomed me warmly. They're not the type to aim for a marriage of convenience or to depend on others.
But his father brushed him off.
Be quiet. You are too naive, Bob. Let me handle this.
Then let me say something. I cut into their argument. Our family poor? Sure, we're not as wealthy as this house, but we live a decent, average life. And don't speak ill of my parents. I respect them. They are honorable people.
Hey, Emma, calm down.
Bob tried to calm me down in my heated state. But I silenced him just as Tom had silenced him. You be quiet. With that, Tom glared at me.
What I mean by poor is any family with less money than us. Marriage won't work if both aren't on the same level. People without money always expect handouts from the wealthy. You'll end up doing that too. It's inevitable. Is that right? You say it won't be like that now, but I know it will eventually.
This man, always making assumptions. Something inside me snapped. Fine, that's enough. I get it very clearly. Please go find someone wealthy to marry your son. Excuse me. I stood up.
Yo, do that. Mom, see her out. Sprinkle some salt after her.
While Bob and Jessica looked bewildered, I didn't look back and walked out of the house.
Wait a minute.
Bob hurried after me. I shouted back in outrage. No. I've had enough. What's with your dad? Looking down on us like we're beggars, it's the worst. Bob was really panicking in response to my furious state.
Let's just try again. My dad was just in a bad mood today.
I've had enough. Why do I have to be insulted like that? There's a limit to how much you can belittle someone.
Just calm down. Why don't you sit down and have some tea?
I was in no mood to cool down right now. I'm sorry, but I'm just not feeling up to it. I'm going home today. Don't contact me for a while.
Emma.
I shook off a clinging Bob and went home alone. After that, Bob called and emailed me numerous times, but I ignored all of his attempts. That day, as I got home angry, I told my parents everything that had happened.
That's a bit harsh. Does our family look that poor?
My father made a face as if he was chewing on a bitter bug.
That's terrible. Bob is a good person, and even the phone call before was bad, but this was even worse.
My mother was astonished.
So, what are you going to do? Are you thinking of breaking up with Bob?
Well, no. I still like Bob, and I want to marry him.
I see. Why don't you take some time to cool off, and then try meeting him again? If things still aren't going well, I'll step in.
Really?
Yes. For my darling daughter. No big deal.
My father was kind and reassuring. Hearing my father's words, my mother gave me some advice.
It seems they don't know much about us, so make sure you explain things properly.
Persuaded by my parents, I decided to meet Bob's parents again. I resumed contact with Bob and asked him to let me meet his parents again. Bob was delighted and quickly arranged it. It felt like the bell for round 2 was ringing. The opponent was formidable. Am I Don Quixote heading towards a giant windmill, or am I a hero fighting a villain? The meeting at Bob's house was set for Saturday on the weekend. Though a showdown sounds like a Friday thing, for me, it was Saturday. Finally, Saturday came. I was restless all morning, watching the clock and waiting for the appointed time. When the time came, I met up with Bob and we headed to his parents' house. Entering the house, Tom was sitting in the living room, just like before. "Hello, long time no see." I greeted him. Tom still looked at me as if I were an annoyance.
What? You're back again.
"Yes, not giving up is my motto," I replied with a smile. Of course, Tom's attitude didn't change.
No matter how many times you come, my mind won't change. You're wasting your time.
I can't just accept that. I have my own pride and determination. Hearing this, Tom's annoyed demeanor shifted to a dismissive one.
Do whatever you want. So, do you have something to say?
I once again voiced my request to marry. "Yes, please allow me to marry Bob."
No, I won't let my Bob marry a poor person.
The expected response came. "I've said it many times, but we are not poor." Are you really that wealthy, Tom, to be calling people poor? It was time for a counterattack. I challenged Tom with a question.
What did you say? I took over my father's company, which had 20 employees, and expanded it to include subsidiaries with 2,000 employees. That's 100-fold increase. How can you say that I, the president of such a respectable company, am not wealthy?
Oh really, and?
And are you mocking me? Our annual sales have increased from $1 million to over $100 million now.
Isn't that just about the company? That's not your money, right? Exactly, it's the company that's big, not you. I hurled the argument I had been brooding over since the furious drive home at Tom. It hit a sore spot, and Tom started yelling.
What are you trying to say? Stop taking me lightly. If you want to convince me, prove that you're wealthier than me.
Is money the only measure of a person? That's not right. The value of a person is not measured by money. As I countered, Tom's voice grew even louder.
That's something a poor person would say. If you're so desperate for money, just say it. I'll give you the money, but don't ever come here again.
That sounds exactly like something a nouveau riche would say. It suits you perfectly.
Hey, Emma, stop it. Dad's embarrassing himself, just stop.
Bob tried to intervene as Tom and I escalated.
Stay out of this.
No, this is fundamentally about me and Emma.
Shut up. I need to make this poor girl understand my greatness.
As Tom grew more agitated, I showed no signs of backing down. Exactly, I need to put this know-nothing in his place. I won't marry until this is settled.
Really, we came here to announce our marriage. How did it come to this?
Bob was at his wit's end.
What a rude girl. I'd like to see what her parents are like.
Oh, is that so? Then I'll accommodate your request. Next time, I'll bring my parents.
Bring them. I want to see the kind of parents who raised such a rude daughter. They must be just as rude.
Tom scoffed at that. Why did someone like Bob come from parents like you? It must be because Jessica's genes are superior.
Oops, I got a compliment. Thank you, Emma.
Jessica was delighted.
Hey, why are you happy about this?
After scolding Jessica, Tom turned to me.
Enough. You're not worth talking to. Let's have a thorough discussion when your parents come. A daughter like you doesn't belong in this house.
What an outrageous thing to say. But before I could get angry, Bob was furious.
How dare you say such things? I no longer consider you a parent. I'm cutting ties with you.
Should I get a divorce too? You're always saying such awful things. I don't want to be with you.
Jessica nonchalantly threw that in too. When I got home, I told my parents everything that had happened. After hearing it all, my father sighed and said,
So it has come to this. Well, if that's what he wants, let's meet him.
Yes, Dad, you tell them off, but I'd like to meet Bob's mother. She doesn't seem like a stranger to me.
You better not come. It'll only complicate things.
Oh, but I want to go.
My mother started looking forward to possibly becoming friends with Bob's mother. No way. Mom, your pace will dampen the angry mood. That's too bad. I just wanted to help you.
I'm thinking of your sake.
My mom pretended to cry, feeling frustrated.
By the way, what was the name of Bob's father again?
It was Tom, I believe.
Tom. Tom?
My dad started to scratch his head as he heard Tom's name. It seemed a bit odd, and I asked my dad while nodding. Yes, that's right. Dad, do you know him?
No, something is nagging at me. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
My dad continued to look puzzled.
Come on, are you getting senile?
Mom joked.
Oh, that's right. It's that guy, that jerk.
It seemed he finally remembered. Wait, he knows him? The world seems large, but is unexpectedly small, and I was surprised by such a coincidence. What, Dad, you know him?
Well, yes. Something like that. Now then, Emma, can you contact Bob's dad for me?
Sure, is next Saturday okay?
Yes, that's fine. Also, I'll be a bit late. So can you go ahead first?
What? Aren't we going together? I was surprised to hear we wouldn't be going together as I had assumed.
Hell, the main character should make a grand entrance at the end.
All right, got it. I didn't know what Dad was planning, but I decided to leave it to him. And then the day of the showdown arrived.
I'll be a bit late as planned. I'll contact you when I get there. Hang in there until then.
That's what Dad told me. As autumn deepened, it was time for the third visit. Upon arriving at Bob's house, I greeted briefly and was shown into the living room. There, as usual, Tom sat with a bitter expression. Hello, Jessica. I hope we can have a good day today.
Welcome, Emma. Your father is here today, right? What does he like to drink?
Jessica seemed cheerful. Seeing Jessica made me feel a bit more at ease.
No need to prepare any drinks. Or rather, you're here again. It's the third time now. Our fancy drinks are too good for the likes of a poor person.
Jessica, thank you for your consideration. But it's all right for now.
So, where is your father? Got cold feet, huh?
Tom was still condescending. No, he just has some preparations and will be a bit late. I apologize.
Well, it doesn't matter. Nothing will change when he gets here.
Bob rebuked Tom's attitude with a bit of irritation. I thought to myself, Bob really has it tough.
It's my marriage, after all. Dad shouldn't be fussing about it.
Tom seemed unaffected by those words. Tom responded dismissively.
Nonsense. I'm just trying to do what's best for you.
Bob responded with dissatisfaction.
That's none of your business.
As this barely constructive conversation went on, I received a message from my father. I just got a call from my father. He has arrived. Then, the doorbell rang.
Excuse me for intruding.
It was my father's voice.
Oh, welcome. It's been a while.
Jessica made a somewhat strange greeting. It's been a while? But it's supposed to be the first meeting between you and my father. I was puzzled. Then,
Well, I'm glad you remembered me. Anyway, excuse my interruption. Today, I am here as Emma's father, John.
Oh no, we've all been waiting for you. Please, this way.
Thank you very much.
after such exchanges, my father was led to the living room.
Hey, Tom. Long time no see.
As my father entered, Tom suddenly stood up straight.
You are Major John. I mean, you were a colonel before you retired. My apologies, Colonel John. It's been a long time.
He saluted. Of course, since it's indoors and he's without a cap, it was an informal salute with hands by his sides and head bowed slightly forward. Bob and I couldn't grasp what was happening.
Don't be so formal. The days when I was a colonel and you were a sergeant major are long gone. Plus, this is your house, isn't it? You've climbed the ranks quite a bit. I guess I did a good job training you.
Sir, well, I apologize for the austere setting, but please have a seat.
Thanks. You sit down too. Everyone will be more comfortable if you are not standing.
Sir, I will take my seat, then.
Saying this, Tom sat down, but unlike before, he was sitting formally on his knees. Dad, you know Bob's father? This situation was so unexpected, I had to confirm.
Yes, back when I was in the military. This Tom came as a new recruit.
Unlike my casually speaking father, Tom, who had been quite pompous until now, shrank and hunched over.
Yes, I was under your care back then.
What a coincidence to meet like this, isn't it? Now you're a company president. That dropout has made quite the climb.
Sir, I apologize for any trouble during my military days. After leaving the military, I took over my father's company, and with everyone's help, I got to where I am today.
Tom was apologizing repeatedly throughout the conversation. He's like one of those nodding toys. Unperturbed, my father indulged in nostalgia.
That bungling recruit has become a president. Good for you.
Sir, can we please not talk about the past?
I actually wanted to hear more about those old days. I asked my father, "Hey, is a sergeant major important? You were a colonel, right?"
Yes, a sergeant major would be like a department head in a company. I was, well, a higher rank than that.
Tom nodded vigorously.
Sir, I had no idea that Bob's partner would be the daughter of Colonel John.
My father chuckled warmly.
Drop the ranks. I'm retired now. Just a civilian.
To that, Tom responded with embarrassment.
Sir, I will keep that in mind.
And so, my father straightened up a bit, almost looking down on Tom, who was cowering.
I've heard various stories from my daughter. Ever since then, you've had this strange fixation with social hierarchy. I told you to stop it, but you're still at it. And I hear you've been looking down on my daughter, calling her poor?
Exactly right. Tom shrank even more.
Yes, I am truly sorry.
No, since I retired, I've been involved with a company you might have heard of, called as Heavy Industries. Yeah, that's the company that makes tanks like the ones you use to drive. The president is my cousin, and we have ties from the military. Now, I'm the director and head of the technical development department.
Again, my father mentioned a connection. That made Tom's eyes widen.
What? As Heavy Industries?
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, Our company and yours had a business relationship.
Yes, as Heavy Industries is a major client of ours, and we are always very grateful for their business.
I didn't come here to talk business, but it seems we might need to reconsider some things.
The pressure from my father looking down was palpable, and Tom bowed his head even more. For me, who had been looked down upon and even told he wanted to see what kind of parents raised such a person, it was truly a refreshing moment.
No, that would be very problematic.
At that response, my father's tone became a bit harsher.
Then, shouldn't you as a parent be blessing Bob and Emma's marriage? We're not as poor as you claim.
Yes, you're right. I'm very sorry for my rude behavior.
Tom deeply apologized while still kneeling.
That settles it then. Bob, Emma, there's nothing standing in the way of your marriage now.
My father looked relieved and turned towards us.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Bob expressed his gratitude, clearly delighted. Thank you, Dad. I also thanked him. Without my father, this outcome might never have been possible. I really felt grateful that he was there. Tom remained bowed. Jessica seemed to enjoy using the term Sergeant Major Tom as she ordered Tom around with her hands on her hips.
Sergeant Major Tom, you will recognize their marriage now.
You two? What are you saying?
Tom was now subdued. My dad looked at me, gave a thumbs up, and winked. And so, Bob and I were able to have our wedding without any issues. Many of my father's university classmates attended the reception. My father graduated from the Defense Academy. Everyone there, who had held high ranks in the military, teased the standing at attention Sergeant Major Tom. During the wedding entertainment, my father's classmates performed something called the military exercise. Of course, Sergeant Major Tom was in charge of leading it, and he was made to participate at the front. Watching these grown men sweat through the exercise, Bob and I couldn't help but laugh. Since that incident, whenever Jessica has a request for Tom, she calls him Sergeant Major Tom and speaks in a commanding tone. Now, she seems to have the upper hand. I'm living a happy life with Bob. We've been blessed with 2 sons. My father adores his grandchildren and gets all mushy when he sees them. One day, when a friend of my father's from the same period visited, he chuckled at the sight of my father's doting demeanor.
The Demon John, they called him.
Today, as usual, my father and the kids are playing heroes in the garden.
Hiya! Miracle beam. BZZZZ.
Ah, I'm hit.
My father and the boys were all covered in mud. Really, such boys. I said, laughing along with my mother. Boys, you might just become real heroes one day. Keep it up. The heroes of the future. Mom. I think I'm pregnant. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
What? Who's the father? Claire is still only 14 years old. I had never heard any talk of her dating anyone. However, the fact that she confided in me must mean it's something serious. But I still don't know who the person is, or if she's really pregnant. In the midst of all this uncertainty, an even more troubling situation arose. I received a call from the police saying that my husband and daughter had jumped off the roof of an apartment building. While the 2 were still unconscious, one of the mom friends who came to visit made a shocking statement.
That girl, I heard she was involved with her father. Gross, right?
What? What do you mean by that? Please don't make such baseless statements.
Oh, did you hear that? My son was consulted by your daughter, so there's no mistake.
My heart froze in an instant. I wanted to believe that there was no way it could be true about my daughter and husband. Unable to hold back, I shouted at her for spreading such baseless rumors. However, I soon realized her intention. It was something so malicious and shocking. My name is Amy. I live with my husband, Bob, and our daughter, Claire. Bob works as a sales representative for a small trading company, and I work part-time at a grocery store, so we're not very well off. We live in a small 2-bedroom apartment. You could say we don't lead a wealthy life.
Amy, I'm sorry for making you struggle with my low salary. It must be hard every month. If only I could earn more.
What are you talking about? I'm grateful that you work so hard for us. I'm working part-time too, so don't worry about it. Bob always apologizes for his low income. It's true that our finances are tight and we can't afford a luxurious lifestyle. But with a kind husband and a smart, energetic daughter, I had no real complaints. Our daughter, Claire, is very bright and always at the top of her class in middle school. Although her classmates attended tutoring classes, we couldn't afford that. But Claire improved her grades without needing extra help. Her school teacher assured us that if she kept up her current pace, she'd definitely get a recommendation to her preferred high school. As a mother, I was very proud of my daughter. However, at some point, Claire, whom I thought was enjoying school life, started to show signs of change. Lately, Claire has been sighing more often. Hey Claire, you seem quite down these days. Is something bothering you? If you want, you can talk to me.
Huh? No, I'm just a bit sleep deprived. Don't worry about it.
I was worried about Claire, so I asked if anything was troubling her. She laughed it off, saying she was just sleep deprived. She did have dark circles under her eyes and often seemed out of it, but it didn't seem like mere sleep deprivation to me. Then one day, Claire confided in me with a shocking revelation.
Mom, I think I might be pregnant.
Pregnant? Calm down, Claire. Why do you think that? Do you have any idea how this could have happened? Claire is still only 14 years old. I had never heard any rumors about her dating anyone in particular. But the fact that she decided to confide in me must mean it's something serious. Trying to stay as calm as possible despite my confusion, I asked Claire. However, Claire just sobbed, and saying she didn't want to talk about it, didn't tell me anything more, and shut herself in her room. I wonder who could have hurt Claire like this. Without any details, I was completely baffled. But if she really is pregnant, she needs to visit an OB/GYN for a checkup. I immediately discussed it with Bob when he got home.
Pregnant? I can't believe it, not Claire.
Right. I felt the same way. But if a smart girl like her is that upset, she must have some reason to believe it.
No, as smart as she is, she's still only 14. She might be misunderstanding something.
I've asked her repeatedly, but she won't tell me anything, so I don't know.
I'll try talking to Claire myself.
Claire has always been a daddy's girl, often sharing her troubles with Bob. Maybe she can share things with Bob that she can't tell me. Since Bob said to leave it to him, I decided to let him handle it for now. Then a few days passed. Claire has been holed up in her room ever since, skipping school. And then, at 3 p.m. that day, while I was on a break at work, I received a call. Hello, what Bob? When I answered, it was from the local police.
Ma'am, please stay calm and listen. The thing is,
the officer said that Bob and Claire had been taken to the hospital. It was reported that the two jumped from the rooftop of a certain apartment building. Fortunately, their lives were spared, but both are in critical condition and still unconscious. I rushed to the hospital in a panic.
There happened to be some bushes where they jumped from the apartment building, which acted like a cushion.
According to the doctor, if it weren't for the bushes, they would have suffered severe injuries and likely wouldn't have survived. While I'm relieved they avoided the worst-case scenario, I'm still worried about the two of them remaining unconscious. I also wonder why they jumped from the apartment. It might be related to Claire's pregnancy, but with both of them unconscious, I have no way of knowing. After the doctor's explanation, a police officer approached me. A witness happened to see the incident, and according to the statement, Bob first pushed Claire off the rooftop, and then he jumped himself.
Have you heard if the two were troubled by something? Or maybe they had made some enemies?
Asked by the police officer, I confessed that Claire might be pregnant, as she had been worried about it yesterday. But I also said that I didn't know who the other party might be, nor if she was indeed pregnant.
I see. So they might have jumped following a discussion about the pregnancy. We'll now conduct a scene investigation, and your information will be very helpful. Thank you.
The police officer then left. At that moment, I didn't realize someone had been secretly listening in. With a heavy heart, I returned to the hospital room and looked at the two still sleeping. I wondered how all this had come to be. No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't find an answer. As I was sitting there, feeling down, the hospital room door was knocked on several times. Wondering who it could be, I opened the door to find a few of Claire's classmates' mothers. That is, several of my mom friends. It seemed they had heard about Bob and Claire's jump and had come to visit, but I wondered how the news had reached them. Puzzled, yet inviting them into the room.
This must have been very hard on you.
They all offered me words of sympathy. I told them that the two were still unconscious, and I had no idea why all this had happened.
If there's anything we can do to help, just let us know.
After receiving these reassuring words, they left the hospital room. After seeing them off, I felt thirsty and headed towards the vending machine in the ward.
I heard that the girl was involved with her father.
It was Diana, one of the mom friends who had just come by. She's the president of the middle school PTA and is known for her high pride behavior.
I happened to overhear Amy talking with the police, and it seems like Claire might be pregnant. It must be the father's child. They must have jumped out of distress.
Please don't make such baseless statements. That can't be true. It's just an accusation. I yelled at Diana as she blurted out her assumptions.
Oh, you heard that, did you?
Caught off guard, Diana showed a flustered expression, but quickly scoffed and then blurted out something outrageous.
My son had been consulted by your daughter, so there's no mistake.
Your son, Kenny? Diana's son, Kenny, is in the same class as Claire, but I had never heard from Claire that they were close enough to discuss such private matters.
Yes, she came to him saying she was pregnant with her father's child, wondering what to do. I understand you don't want to believe it, but isn't their jumping off the building proof enough?
What are you saying? Diana and I got into a heated argument at her outrageous claim. The other moms couldn't stop us and just looked on helplessly. Eventually, a police officer who must have been on standby at the hospital came to break us up.
Please calm down. You are in a hospital here.
She started the argument. I was just telling the truth. I better get going.
It's because you're spreading nonsense.
Whatever. I've had enough. Poor people jumping off our fancy condo building, such a hassle. I'm leaving now.
Diana said this and walked away. It turns out that Bob and Claire had jumped from the condo where Diana lives.
I'm sorry for bringing her here during such a difficult time. It's terrible that this happened.
The mom friends apologized to me. Everyone seemed puzzled by Diana's behavior. Hours later, sitting in the waiting room, I was called by a doctor. I wasn't sure if it was good news or bad news. Feeling anxious, I entered the examination room and waited for the doctor's words. A police officer was also present, which only added to my anxiety.
Your daughter was not pregnant.
Really? I was relieved for the moment. But why had Claire thought she was pregnant? Confused, the police officer then shocked me with a statement.
It's hard to say this, but we suspect that the two were pushed.
Pushed? What do you mean?
The investigation at the scene doesn't quite add up to them jumping from the roof.
Who would do such a thing to them?
We have a good idea who the culprit might be, based on something left at the scene by your husband.
Bob's bag was found on the rooftop of the condo, containing only his work notebook and wallet.
Bob's phone wasn't left at the scene. Could he have forgotten it at home?
I'll have to check at home, but Bob always carries his phone with him.
I see. It's possible then that someone deliberately took the phone. Now, ma'am, please look at this.
The officer then showed me a small black notebook. I recognized this notebook. It's Bob's. Inside were some IDs and passwords.
We found out this belongs to a cloud storage service, a kind of online data storage service.
The officer took out what seemed to be his phone and logged into the cloud service.
Please listen to this.
Hearing the audio file stored there, I was stunned. And this data revealed who the culprit of this incident was. The next day, I called out a person outside the condo where the accident happened. You pushed Bob and Claire, didn't you?
Why did you call me out here all of a sudden? Stop making baseless accusations.
Don't play dumb.
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't take your family problems out on me.
Diana said this with a mocking laugh, sneering as she spoke. However, after hearing that audio, I am convinced that she was the one who pushed them both. Despite my questioning, Diana refused to admit anything, so I pulled out my smartphone and played the audio for her. It was a recording of a conversation between Bob, Claire, and Diana just before the incident. From that conversation, it was revealed that Diana's son, Kenny, had been unilaterally pressing Claire to date him.
I want to focus on my studies right now.
Claire declined his advances. Angered by the rejection, Kenny began to harass Claire persistently. Claire's sighs and lack of sleep were likely due to these troubles with Kenny. Finally, Claire decided to consult with Bob.
Stop following her around.
Bob apparently confronted Kenny directly. Then, Claire was summoned by Diana.
You're leading all the boys at school astray, aren't you? You must be involved with a teacher too, right? I heard you're pregnant.
Diana accused Claire like this. Claire, of course, denied Diana's words, but her attacks did not stop. If you deny it, then prove it, Diana insisted, handing Claire a pregnancy test. Reluctantly using the test, hoping to satisfy Diana, Claire shockingly got a positive result. It's unthinkable, but Claire, only 14, was in despair over how she could be pregnant. When Claire returned home, she reported to me that she was pregnant, but when I asked who the father was, she had no idea and couldn't give an answer. Later, as Bob persistently tried to learn more about the pregnancy from Claire, she confided in him about her encounter with Diana and the pregnancy test. Bob investigated further and suspected that the pregnancy test was a fake, designed to always show a positive result. On the day of the incident, Bob took Claire with him during a break from work to confront Diana. Diana admitted it was supposed to be just a prank, but when she realized Bob had recorded their conversation on his smartphone, she started to panic.
I'll sue you for defamation. I don't know what you're up to, but you'll pay for hurting my daughter.
Quiet. Give me that smartphone.
Diana, nearly hysterical, apparently tried to snatch the smartphone from Bob. During the struggle, Diana pushed Bob. The audio recording ended abruptly with Bob's scream. Even with this, you still claim you're not the culprit?
That's a fabrication. Modern editing technology is quite impressive, isn't it?
Diana bravely claimed the voice in the recording wasn't hers, though her demeanor clearly showed she was panicking.
There's more evidence.
At that moment, the police officer handling the case appeared. I had asked him to be on standby nearby. The police had doubts about the witness statement claiming someone had fallen from the condo rooftop. After all, the witness was Diana herself.
It's a high-rise building. Normally, even if trees acted as a cushion, one wouldn't survive a fall from that height.
The police, suspecting Diana's testimony, checked the rooftop security cameras and found no footage of Bob and Claire going up there.
However, fingerprints from you, Bob, and Claire were found on the railing of the cafe terrace on the 3rd floor.
It's normal for my fingerprint to be there since I live here.
That's odd, because that day was the cleaning day for the building. In the morning, the cleaning staff thoroughly cleaned all handrails. So why were your fingerprints found?
The officer pointed out that the fingerprints discovery after the cleaning indicates that the 3 of them were on that terrace that afternoon, a definitive proof of their presence.
It's all your daughter's fault.
Seemingly resigned to no escape, Diana finally admitted to the crime. Her admission was, to say the least, shocking. Diana admitted that after seeing Bob pushed off, a shocked Claire leaned out from the terrace to follow her father, and Diana pushed her too, intending to silence her. After pushing both of them, Diana regained her composure and went downstairs to retrieve Bob's smartphone. The phone was already damaged, but she took it with her just in case, worried that the data might be recovered. However, Diana didn't know that the data was being synced and saved in real time to the cloud. After the crime, it was Diana who moved Bob's bag from the cafe terrace on the 3rd floor to the rooftop. It seemed that jumping from the rooftop, rather than from the 3rd floor, appeared more like a natural way to take one's life, which is why she staged it that way. Diana had long been irked that Claire, who did not attend tutoring, was outperforming her son, Kenny, academically, and she harbored a grudge after her son was rejected by Claire. As part of her harassment, she bought a pregnancy test online that would always show a positive result and successfully unsettled Claire by persuading her to use it. According to her plan, Claire stopped attending school. If Claire was absent, her son could become the top student at school. Driven by such a petty motive, Diana deceived Claire. However, when Bob realized that the pregnancy test was a fake and confronted her about her actions, she panicked and pushed both him and Claire off. Far from showing any remorse, Diana spread rumors that Claire must have jumped because of the pregnancy. She might have thought that spreading rumors would turn lies into truth, but the police were not so easily fooled. The investigation, along with the audio data Bob left behind, exposed all of her clumsy attempts at a cover-up. I could never forgive such despicable behavior. What you did is a crime. Claire and my husband are still unconscious. We don't even know if they will wake up. Do you understand the gravity of your actions? She didn't respond, just hung her head. Regardless of her wishes, her crimes would be judged in court. And then, Diana was taken by the police to the station. It's over. But even if the culprit is known, the two of them are still. Thinking of Bob and Claire, still asleep in the hospital, was heart-wrenching. If only they could regain consciousness. All I could do was pray. A few days after Diana was taken away, the hospital called me at home. It seemed that the two of them had regained consciousness. Rushing to the hospital, I saw them sitting up in their beds. Bob, Claire, I'm so relieved. I cried tears of relief seeing them both. According to the doctor, fortunately, they showed no signs of lasting effects and were told they could return to normal life with some rehabilitation. While they would have to stay in the hospital for a while longer, their discharge wasn't far off. Later, Diana was arrested for attempted murder. Even during the police interrogation, she was screaming that she was not to blame and showed no signs of remorse. However, despite her lack of remorse, the trial resulted in a prison sentence for her. When her imprisonment was confirmed, she broke down, crying uncontrollably in public. Following Diana's arrest, both the school and the education committee were thrown into chaos. Her husband, who had been the PTA president, was forced to resign, and their son, Kenny, had to transfer schools. It seems Diana and her husband divorced, and when she is released from prison, no one will be there to pick her up. We had been instructed to have no contact with her ever again, so after her release, she is planned to move to a distant prefecture. We may never meet Diana again, but I hope she reflects on her rash actions. Meanwhile, our family has grown closer than ever since the incident.
Mom, I'm sorry about that time. I couldn't come clean right away.
Claire apologized for not having disclosed the circumstances under which she was given the pregnancy test. Possibly because Diana and I were friends among the moms. It seems that made it harder for Claire to tell the truth to me than to Bob. It's okay, don't worry about that. I'm just happy to see you both safe and sound again. Both were fully recovered and looked healthy. Claire, trying to make up for the time she missed, was studying harder than ever. She apparently wants to become a lawyer.
I want to become a lawyer who can fight against people who deceive others, like Kenny's mom. I can't believe I was tricked by such tactics. I'll never let that happen again.
Claire was passionate about her future dreams, unable to forgive herself for being deceived by such malicious tactics. Despite everything that happened, she never gave up. Instead, she found her own goal, and I am proud of Claire's strength. We may not have the wealth to live in a high-rise condo like Diana, but we have something much more important in our family: the bonds of family and trust in each other. Ironically, the incident allowed us to reaffirm these values, which are more important than money.